Talking with the experts.
In episode 356, Umar Hameed discusses how changing your mindset can help you get rid of unwanted behaviour.
So one of the things that we are super great at, there's a couple of things that humans are amazing at. One is making meaning out of things. Like Rose, I notice how you're looking at me, and you probably think I'm very handsome, and you're really sorry that you're in Australia, I'm here, but we make meaning all the time. Mom said this, so this must mean I'm broken, or my boss said we're not going to do this idea, we're going to do that idea, or they must think I'm an idiot. It's like probably not. There were 4 ideas, they picked the best one, which may not be the best decision, but they did the best they could. So one is that need to make meaning, and one of the things to kind of get your energy back is to go back to what meaning did I make when I was a kid when dad said this, I'm not lovable. Wow, maybe I can change the meaning I made back then. And if we can do that holistically, you get the energy back and you get your life back. Sometimes
Welcome to Talking with the Experts. This is where we discuss great ideas to take your business to the next level. How do we know these ideas work? Well, it's because we're talking with business owners who are using these ideas. Business owners who have years of experience and expertise. All things business by business owners for business owners. And now, here is your host, Rose Davidson.
Hello and welcome to Talking with the Experts. I'm your host, Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com. Talking with the Experts is about all things business by business owners for business owners. You can find it on all good podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. Today, my guest is Umar Hameed, who will be discussing with us how changing mindset can help you get rid of unwanted behavior. Very timely, I think. Umar is an expert in changing individual behavior and improving team dynamics. He uses techniques and tools from the world of applied neuroscience and NLP to make individuals and organizations more successful. He's also a keynote speaker at conferences and has been in 16 countries. He's the author of 3 books. His latest is Unleash Your Crazy Sexy Brain. We'll find out more about that in a minute. He has founded 4 companies. He has held a briefing at the White House, and Umar's No Limit Selling podcast has over 230,000 downloads. Well done. My little one's only got about 22,000, so well done to you.
Thank you.
Welcome, Umar, and thank you so much for joining me today. And I look forward to discussing with you how we can change our behaviors.
Yeah, so the thing to really discuss is I bet you know a few people in your life, like could be friends, family, associates, people you work with. When you look at them, you go, oh my God, this person could be a rock star. They're so amazing. And for some reason, they can't see it themselves. It's like, oh no, if I was taller or shorter or sexy, I'm too good looking. I can't do this. No one takes me seriously. All these millions of things we tell ourselves that stop us from stepping into who we are. And I think that's part of the journey. Yeah. And
sorry, go on.
No, it's just it just breaks my heart when we see people not living their full lives, and they don't just impact themselves, which would be tragic enough, but they've got friends, families, kids looking up to them, and when they kind of settle for a smaller life, it gives permission to other people to do the same. But when you shine, you also give permission for people to say, oh, wait a minute, I could do something more significant. It's not about ego, it's about service. And happy to be on the show. Thanks for the invite.
Oh, it's my very great pleasure. So how can changing your mindset change and get rid of unwanted behavior that will help them to grow in their businesses?
Yeah, we'll talk about that. It's like, so you meet a lot of people. Where typically do people get stuck? Like, is there like common themes I mean, it seems different and unique to each one of us, but they seem to be like these common themes for people, right? Kind of falling in these buckets. What buckets are you noticing?
I think it's around procrastination, imposter syndrome, uh, mainly that. I think if they're just getting a
Yeah.
bit stuck in their direction, they really just don't know where they're going and if their journey is ever going to come to an end.
And there's like, I know some of these imposters, and they're like such a bunch of phonies. They're like Hollywood actors that have won Oscars, like just won an Oscar, have made millions of billions of dollars for all their movies. They've got all this like 20-year history of being amazing, and yet they still feel like, I'm not going to be hired ever again. Sooner or later, people are going to figure out. It's like, how could you think that? I mean, you've got this track record of being amazing, and but still, the tentacles of our doubts reach out from within and grab your neck and go, eh.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can so agree with that. I sometimes, I don't know if it's mainly women that suffer from imposter syndrome, or, I know men do have it, but I think it's
I
in,
think they're more vocal about it.
no, it could be. Yeah.
And I think I'm going to tell you a secret. Don't tell anybody else.
Okay, I try not to.
Women are freaking amazing, right? They are
Absolutely.
like powerful, creative. I mean, in so many amazing ways, but yet somehow they're treated like second-class citizens.
Mm. Yeah, why
And
is that? I don't understand that. I've never, as a small child, I've never understood it. So if
so
boys can do certain sports, why can't I? And teachers always said, no, you can't play because you're a girl. I thought, that's not fair.
no, there's that. And there's also, the main caregiver in a family is usually the mother.
Hmm.
And a mother has, before she was mom, she was in this world and kind of going, this is not fair. I should be allowed to do this. I want to do this, but for some reason I am not allowed to do that. And they may even think, when my sons and daughters come into this world, I'm going to show them that, we're all equal, we can all do these things, but the framework of society is so strong that even though they had the best of intentions, they perpetuate the lie we've been telling ourselves. Not from malice. It's just when you're part of the system, you just conform. And I think there's a bumper sticker. They may have it in Australia. It's like, I'm going to paraphrase here. No well-behaved woman ever changed the world. It's those radicals that say, no more.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I
And
always taught my kids to be totally independent and to follow their dreams, and, don't put up with anything. If someone says you can't do something, it's rubbish because you can.
absolutely. And here's the rub. The rub is you've got all these I'm going to call them jerks out there, sometimes telling you can, you're not good enough. And none of that really matters in the grand scheme of things, because on a scale of 1 to 10, no matter how mean they are, how powerful they are, it maybe hits a 2 out of 10 in terms of intensity compared to that inner voice that
Mm.
tells us we're not good enough.
Yeah, it's that
And it's
inner
like that internal stuff is
nagging
like
devil on your
huge.
shoulder. Yeah, it's terrible.
And so the question is, why does that happen? And one of the reasons that happens is that at the heart of who you are, who I am, who anyone is where we hold our beliefs. And we have anywhere from 50,000 to 100,000 beliefs that define who we are as human beings. And most of those beliefs are freaking amazing. You've got kids, you got a family, you got a podcast, you're doing amazing things. And then we each have some beliefs that get in the way of us being fabulous. And if I'm going to guess, Rose, actually, I'm going to use my powers of reading minds, that you do not have a dream to become an opera singer. Did I get that right?
Oh, maybe. I think you got that
I,
right. That's pretty cool.
I was so close.
Wow,
So
wow.
here's why I bring that up, is that you can't sing like an opera singer, and you kind of go, who cares? Like, it's not really something I want to do. So if there was a belief that, I suck as an opera singer, who cares? But if you wanted to be more outgoing, or if you wanted to feel at peace, or if you wanted to be a better businesswoman or whatever that thing was, and you go to do it, and an uncomfortable feeling comes up that sabotages you. The inner voice comes up that sabotages you. What we need to do is not look at the symptoms, try and trace back to the belief that causes this, that spawned all of this stuff. And if we could find that belief, the belief probably comes from a long time ago, maybe childhood. And at that moment, that belief may have made perfect sense. Or it could have been something you mislabeled. Mom was doing something, or a teacher said something, and you took it upon yourself to mean, I'm not good. And that may not have been the intent in the first place, and we just mislabeled it. Or we could have like an idiot, horrible teacher that said something horrible that shattered our dreams. By the way, I'm going to take a small aside here. You would be shocked how many people I work with that you can beep this out later on, but it needs to be said this way. Some asshole teacher told the kid, you'll never amount to anything.
Oh, don't
Like,
you just
what kind of
hate that?
teacher for like a 6-year-old, 8-year-old says that? It's like, I don't know who they are, but I want to go slap them. But this is not just once in a while you hear it quite often. Maybe the teacher was frustrated, but they don't realize what an impact that has on a small child. And so we have this belief in an area where we want to succeed, and we don't think we're worthy of, or the inner voice comes up, or you know what, we give it our best, but when we go to actually do it, instead of punching through it, we pull our punch
Mm.
and just hit it gently and go, oh, I tried, it didn't work, so I better go do something else. So let me tell you a story, if you're interested,
Oh,
on
absolutely, please.
what
We love
change can look like.
stories.
Absolutely. And this is so let me tell you about, I had this CEO come in. She's an amazing woman, powerful, has built this business. And she came in and said, Umar, I heard you speak and I want to talk to you. I've got this problem. What's the problem? She goes, I've got this management team. It took me 2 years to get the right people to surround me to build this business and really make it grow. And I find myself micromanaging these amazingly talented people, so much so that a lot of them are ready to quit and leave. But I can't help it. It's a compulsion. And so one of the things to realize is if we followed that thought, tell me, why is this a compulsion? What do you think it means? Where do you think it came from? They're going, I don't know. But if you say, tell me about a particular time that you felt like micromanaging your employees, they go, oh yeah, I was talking to a customer and I knew I had to take over. So go back to that moment in time. Where were you? And she said, I was in my office. So see what you was seeing, the monitor in front of you, the hero wall with all your rewards, whatever you were looking at, see it now in your mind's eye. She goes, okay, hear whatever you were listening to, the conversation with the customer, your own voice, your inner voice, whatever was going on. She goes, okay, I'm doing it. When you do those two things, you get to re-experience what you were feeling. What were you feeling? She goes, man, that's weird. I'm feeling it now. It's an uncomfortable feeling right here, like an anxiety. I said, huh. Had I asked her, have you felt this before? She would go, maybe or no. But there's a tool from neuroscience you can use to link this feeling to your unconscious mind that records everything. And
Timeline
as soon as we
therapy.
linked it, yeah, it instantly went back to a childhood experience. And her mother had left her at home alone. And a man was coming up to the front door. She got so scared. She was like 7 or 8 years old. She went in the kitchen, got the biggest knife she could find in the butcher block, went in the bathroom and stood there in the dark holding this knife. And the man never came in. It wasn't even anything dangerous, but when she was a little kid. But she had a thought when she was in the bathroom. To my mother, men are more important than me. And the next thought was, the only person I can trust in the world is me. And that belief that intellectually she knew the management team were the right people, but in a heart of hearts where she holds her beliefs, is like, can't trust anybody. I have to be involved in all those decisions. So we change that, send her on her way, get a call about a week later saying, Umar, thanks so much for doing that. The urge to micromanage, that's gone, but something weird's happening. What's happening that's weird? She goes, Umar, for the first time in my life, I can truly appreciate my accomplishments. And she'd never been able to do that before. So these beliefs are like a root, and they blossom into many different areas. Some can go in your personal life, some professional. And if we take care of a symptom, or we got rid of the symptom, you go, oh, thank God, that's really good. But the underlying belief hasn't been fixed, it'll grow another bud,
Yeah,
maybe two. But if we go down at the level of beliefs, then we pull that plant out by the roots. And then all of a sudden it creates changes in many areas of our lives. And that, I think, is something we should be teaching in elementary school. Why let
absolutely.
people become adults and be, I'm going to use a technical term. I'm not sure your listeners know this, but why wait till we get screwed up? Why not when we're like 8 and there's a bully doing something that we can just basically let go of that bullying, how it made us feel, like right there and then. And you know what happens when you have a bully bullying you? They want you to be bullied and be weak and be a victim. And when you can let that go and go, huh, is that it? Then they lose interest and they go away. And so, yeah, I think it's not even your mission, but I'm going to make it your mission. Rose, you and I are going to bring this stuff to where it's needed most. Let's empower our kids to learn some of these tools so they become amazing, glorious human beings that light a path for humanity to just be fearless and build the lives they want, whether it's being a florist, a writer, or just being like the world's best dad, whatever that is for you. Do it boldly, fearlessly, joyfully.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think parenting skills need to be changed a whole lot to be able to foster that. I don't know if it's be the next generation or the one after that, but I'm sure we'll get there eventually. But it does
Or
start
never,
with
or never.
or never. Yeah, true.
That's the sad part, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, I think if we change the dynamics of families and bring in
Yeah,
those things. I mean, it's never too late to bring those things in. And as parents, we really just do
the best we
good
can.
things because we follow generational behaviors, and it takes someone to break that generational behavior to bring in something new and something better. And you're right, what happens to us as children, we bring into our lives as adults, and then, it goes into our work life and goes into our personal lives. And we're never taught how to go back and change the trigger that started all this behavior in the first place.
And the paradox is this. Often I give this example. There's these two identical twins. They're 6 years old. They're playing in the living room. Mom comes in. It's about 6:30, 7 o'clock. It's bedtime. She goes, all right, clean up your stuff. Time to go to bed. Twin A goes, Mom loves me, wants me to, have a bath and have a good night's sleep. It's going to be amazing. The story time. Can't wait. The second twin is like, she doesn't trust me. So as a parent, dear parents out there, you do the best you can, because that could very well happen that you do something benign and your child goes, oh my God, I'm amazing. And they could also go, oh my God, I'm broken. So just do your best. And that's why Rose and I are here. We're going to help them. And it's billable hours. So it's a good thing all around.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of what we say that happens as a child in business, as you gave with your story, was this woman had something had happened to her as a child, and she couldn't trust anyone, and that went right through up to starting this amazing company and nearly losing all of her staff. But and
Yeah.
and we need to go back and relearn some behaviors, I suppose, or get rid of some behaviors, or go back to the root of all evil.
So one of the things that we are super great at, there's a couple of things that humans are amazing at. One is making meaning out of things. Like Rose, I notice how you're looking at me, and you probably think I'm very handsome, and you're really sorry that you're in Australia, I'm here. But we make meaning all the time. Mom said this, so this must mean I'm broken. Or
Mm.
my boss said we're not going to do this idea, we're going to do that idea, or they must think I'm an idiot. It's like, probably not. There were 4 ideas. They picked the best one, which may not be the best decision, but they did the best they could. So one is that need to make meaning. And one of the things to kind of get your energy back is to go back to, what meaning did I make when I was a kid when dad said this? Uh, I'm not lovable. Wow. Maybe I can change the meaning I made back then. And if we can do that holistically, you get the energy back and you get your life back. Sometimes you get stuck in it, and then it's like every behavior that we do reinforces that old belief. And that's the tragedy of it all and the beauty of it all. So let's say you thought that you're unstoppable in business, and then you go into this business meeting with bankers and you got swagger. You're like, hey, I'm doing this and this is what's going to happen. And if you know what's good for you and you want to ride on my coattails, come along for the ride. If you got that kind of spunk, people are like, I don't know, I want to go with her. And so if, we manifest our own realities, and if we did it consciously, that would be like a beautiful thing. But a lot of those beliefs are unconscious, that happened a long time ago. And if it was a negative belief, we've been creating those circumstances to reinforce it. And so let's say that my belief was, I'm really homely and nobody finds me attractive. And let's say by chance, Rose, you did find me attractive. And it's just like, well, she's just doing that because I'm on her podcast and she's just trying to be polite. And I would make stories up to hold on to the belief that I'm homely, which I'm not, by the way.
I
But
know. I
isn't
agree.
that amazing that how we do that? And sometimes it's so easy to see in others. It's like, oh, I can't believe my sister's doing that. It doesn't make sense. And then your spouse is saying, but you do a different thing, which is just as bad. It's like, do I? I had no idea. So want to talk about self-delusion?
Go on. Go on.
So I was married for 27 years. And this is not an uncommon story. My wife got cancer and it took her 18 months to pass. And from the day she passed, for a year, not one day was I sad or sorry for myself or couldn't get out of bed. At the year anniversary, I took her ashes to the Pacific Ocean to release them. And sometime that day, I kind of pulled my back in some way. And by the next day, after my appointments on the West Coast in the US, I was in excruciating pain, and I go to a chiropractor to get some relief, and they can't seem to fix it. Have you ever heard of reflexology?
Yes.
Muscle testing? So, dear listeners, go on Wikipedia to find out what it is. But pretty much the chiropractor goes, let me do some muscle testing. And she gets me to hold up my arm really strongly. And she goes, is this a physical issue? And the answer comes back, not a physical issue. She goes, is this a chemical issue? And I go, no, it's not a chemical issue. Then she goes, is this an emotional issue? And all of a sudden it's weak. She goes, when did this pain start? I go, yesterday. Did anything emotional happen yesterday? And I went, holy cow. I let go of my wife's ashes, and for a year, I have buried the grief so deeply that I couldn't even detect it in myself. But your body lets you know. And at that year anniversary, that was like a painful reminder that you've got this massive grief that you've not dealt with. And it would have been okay if it was like the grief was coming up and I went, tap it down. It's like, no, I will be happy. None of that happened. It was like there was no grief. So it could be the, past from a long time ago, or it could be something recent that's happened that takes a hold of you and makes you less than you are. And I think that's what we need to do, is to change that. And we've been talking about all this depressing stuff. Can I take you on a journey to do something more on the positive side?
Absolutely.
So let me ask you, Rose, what time is it where you're at, by the way?
11:25 a.m.
Okay, and it's about 9 something in the evening here. I'm in Toronto, Canada today. And so if you checked your level of self-esteem from 0, which means you want to end this podcast and crawl underneath your desk and weep softly, or 100, you want to end this podcast so you can go in the bathroom, look in the mirror, and go, "You're so beautiful." If you were checking your self-esteem right now in this moment from 0 to 100, what number pops up for you right now, Rose?
Oh, I probably wouldn't go in the bathroom, but I would say that it's fairly high, about 80, 90.
About 80, yeah, very nice, right? And so let me show you and your viewers and listeners a simple technique to change your level of self-esteem. Because it's all about mindset and changing behaviors. And if you change your self-esteem for the positive, especially on days where you don't feel the magic, that it can be a game changer, right? So, Rose, one of the large TV shows in Australia, one of those morning programs, wants to do a show about you. And they're going to interview you on air. It's going to go all over Australia, maybe picked up elsewhere on the internet. And so you're super excited to go, and your friends say, before you go to the show, you better prepare for this interview. So you're like ready to go. And so you go in this room that's divided in two with a glass wall. And you're sitting on one side of the room at a desk with a pad of paper and a chair, and you've got a pen, and you start writing your accomplishments from when you were a little girl, things you were proud of, elementary school, things you did for your siblings, classmates, for your parents, things you did for the church maybe, and you're writing your accomplishments from high school, any awards that you got in college, what you've done for your family at work. And as you're writing your accomplishments, the essence of who you are, maybe your soul or your higher self, steps out of your body as you're writing your accomplishments, steps through the glass wall. So you're standing on this side of the glass wall, watching yourself write your accomplishments. And as you're doing that, Rose, who in your life loves you very much and values you highly? Who's that person for you? What's their first name?
Ian.
Ian. So just imagine Ian standing next to you, looking through the glass wall at you writing your accomplishments. And since you're spirit, you get to step into Ian's body just for a moment. And you get to see yourself through his loving eyes as he sees you. And as you get a good sense of that. And you get to hear his thoughts about you, how much he cares for you and values you and loves you. And then since you're in his body, you get to feel the depth of his emotions for you. And when you've got all three of those, how he sees you through his loving eyes, what he really thinks about you, can hear how much he loves you and cares for you, and you can feel it. You step out of his body, you go through the glass wall, and you step back into where you're sitting right now. It changes things, right?
It does.
And it changes one's self-esteem. So, dear listeners, go through this process, teach it to your kids, teach it to everyone you know. And what this allows you to do is you're going to go play golf with your buddies and you want to feel fantastic. You could do this just before you go there. Kids going for a test, someone going for a job interview, amp up your self-esteem and show up in a more powerful way. And when you show up with higher self-esteem, you don't need to have ego. You just have presence. And that's a really attractive thing. And people want to say this magic word to you. They want to say yes.
It's very good advice, actually. It's something I might practice. Well, I will practice now because I think
Nice, excellent.
it's a good thing. I really enjoyed that. Okay. I'm a bit lost now.
So do you want me to wind this thing up, or do you want to go for a little longer? What's better for you?
No. Umar, I'd love to learn more about your new book, Unleash Your Crazy Sexy Brain.
It's a bit, it's about 4 years old now, and it's the how-to manual for your brain. So it shows you how to let go of fear, how to access peak states of performance, how to think at a higher level. So when you're looking to do things, how can you actually, like Einstein, he was really smart apparently. And he said, once you cannot solve a problem at the same level as the problem, if you want elegant solution, that's actually a terrible German accent. You need to think at a higher level. And I show you how to do that practically, simply. And it's basically, want to learn a bunch of cool stuff? I'm going to show you 12 kick-ass amazing things that are going to make you magnificent. But the thing I'm super excited about is I've got an app coming out. It's called Mindset Boosters. It'll be a web app, so you can get it on any platform. You just sign up on a website. It's called Mindset Boosters. And this is what I'm really proud about. This fulfills the mission. So I'll tell you about two of the tracks on the app. There's about 50 some odd. One of them is called Let Go of Work. And the reason I designed it is a lot of people come home from work. Mom comes home from work. She's having dinner with the family. It's totally amazing. There's only one problem. Mom is physically there, but she's mentally checked out because she's thinking about tomorrow's deadline, what happened today, and everybody can sense, including the family dog, that mom ain't here, baby. So if mom's got a problem like that, comes home the next day, she pulls in the driveway, takes out her phone, goes to this track called Letting Go of Work, and in 6 minutes, 44 seconds, it gets her to let go of all the anxiety from the day. It gets her to re-experience fully the very first time she fell in love with her significant other. And the first time she fell in love, there was a good component of lust in there as well. And so she comes into the house fully present with love in her heart for everybody in the family. And that's what I want to do for people, is to give them the ability to decide how they want to feel or act in any situation. And I'll tell you about one other track, because I think it's pretty amazing, is when anxiety comes up, and we've got a COVID kind of is like a loser pandemic. Anxiety is the true pandemic. Like, there's so many people feel anxiety and they can't do the things they want to do. So we've got a whole category of tracks in the anxiety area. One of them is I'm not good enough, or the imposter syndrome. Like, in 6 minutes, they can actually not lose the imposter syndrome for the rest of their lives, but for the next 3 hours, when it counts most, that's gone. You can just be yourself. And so that's going to be my contribution to the world, is very much to empower people. So in the palm of their hand, they've got the ability to decide how they act and feel. And so that's what's going on in the Umar lane.
Wow, that sounds absolutely amazing. You'll have to send me a link to that when it comes out.
I'm actually going to send you a free version of that, so you get a chance to use it. And one of the things, would love your feedback. And you can tell me I'm a genius. And also, more importantly, actually, I'm only kidding about the genius part, is, well, Umar, this area here needs improvement and all that stuff. We live in this amazing time now. Is like, in the past, it's like, I have written a book by a publisher, and on the second edition, that may happen in 10 years, we can correct something. And now we've got the ability, if something needs fixing or doing better, we can just do it like that. And all the 10,000 users of the app get this new version of it like immediately. And so, yeah, so I'm going to send it to you. Would love to hear your feedback. And dear listeners and viewers, you can get, it's called mindsetboosters.com, and you can get it. There's a free version. In every category, there's 2 tracks free all the time to give it a test drive. And then you can get a monthly subscription or an annual subscription. And if you really want, we can do a customized track just for you. And so that, just whatever your specific thing is, we can create something that would actually make that go away.
Excellent. That is absolutely fabulous. Love it.
So can I ask you a question, Rose?
You can.
So I am playing with this new area that I want to write a book in. And here's what it's about, is that if I wanted to do this interview with love, if I could step into love and have this conversation with you, it would have a different vibe and tone. And so if I was going to do a workout, I could go, I want to like really build my muscles and do this or whatever, or it's all about, I can't wait to get this over with, this sucks. But if I stepped into love, that I'd be able to lift the weights probably more slower, which means that I get more benefit out of it. So that's the project. So what I just described, I'm still trying to articulate it, like stepping into love to do just everyday tasks. how would you articulate? A, do you think it's useful? Two, what does that mean to you? Or what do you think it means for human beings to be able to do that?
Mm, I don't know. I think I would probably call it stepping into love, just stepping into love for
Yeah.
everyday tasks, or stepping into love for getting what you want out of life, or something like that. Hmm.
Have you ever done that where you've consciously kind of stepped into love to go do a particular task?
Yes, yeah. I do that
Nice.
quite often. Yeah, only because I've had a bad night and I haven't slept well, and and I've got a whole day of podcast interviews to do, and I really love what I do, so I have to step into the love of it to
Oh,
be able to get through
excellent.
the day. Yeah.
Do you know what my greatest wish for humanity and individual people is? I would love them to fall madly and deeply in love with themselves.
Yes,
So
that would
not
be very
ego,
nice. Yes.
like that self-acceptance and those things that we struggle with where, the rough edges, when you actually, so this is my theory, is those rough edges and those places that we're not good at, we hold on to them as if our life depended on it.
I love my rough
And
edges, though. I think that's what makes me
yeah,
unique.
yeah, of course. And if you can love those, then you can loosen the grip on it.
Mm,
And that's where you can get the change that naturally comes in. So sometimes it's like, you know, uh, I like ego a lot. And that's one of the things I'm trying to let go of. And so, sometimes it's like I can hold on to it really tightly, but when you step into love, it loosens it.
mm,
You realize it's not about me. It was never about me in the first place. And it isn't even about Rose. And what it's really about is your amazing listeners. That if you and I can
absolutely.
touch somebody that sends you an email saying, "Oh my God, that guy's an idiot," or "Oh my God, this changed my life," that would make you happy. And if you sent me a message saying, "Oh, like I just got this email from someone, they live in Portugal, and they said, 'Oh my God, this is going to change my relationship with myself,'" I'd be over the moon that day. It's like we did good in the world today.
Absolutely. That's my goal in life, is to do good and be good and bring joy and happiness.
Yeah, and I think, and that's what you're doing with this sharing. And so, dear listeners and viewers, I'm sure Rose is amazing and talented and all that stuff. But in this context, she's shining the spotlight on her guest because it's all about getting their wisdom out. And that's like being selfless. And that's how you do a great interview, is to just uh, get the best performance out of the person on the other side of the camera. So thank you for doing that. And
Pleasure. That's what I love. That's why I love doing what I do, because I'm not the brightest spark in the tool shed, but my guests have something to share, and it's why I do the podcast, because it's their time to shine. And they could be well known, or they could be not so well known, and they all have something that they can share that will make someone the day.
absolutely. And I heard, sometimes you need to hear the opposite. I'm not sure who said this. It's like, we're all dumb at something.
Here we are.
And we are. And the corollary of that is what you just said, that we're all experts in one area, maybe more, where we just shine. And
Mm,
to other people, it's like, how can you do that? You make it look so easy. And we can teach them. And that'll be like totally brilliant.
absolutely. Uma, I would love to continue on this conversation. However, the time has got to come to an end sometime.
It
Where can
does.
people find you if they would like to learn more or to work with you?
So the best place to go is to just put my name in Google, Umar Hameed, and that story about incarceration, that's not true. No, they can put my name there. You'll find we've got a Facebook pages. I'm on Instagram. And if you go to mindsetboosters.com, take the app out for a test drive, and it'll change your life because it'll give you the help you need when you need it. Thank you so much for the invitation today. It was a joy being on the show with you, and have a brilliant morning mate, have a Foster's,
Ooh, yuck, Foster's, yuck. No one in Australia drinks Foster's. It's the most
it's all for
disgusting
the
beer
eggs
out.
on our side. Yeah.
Have you got something that you'd like to share before you leave today?
Sure. I would like to share two quotes. One from Winston Churchill: when you get to hell, keep going. And I think what that means to me is this, is that fear comes up, we stop. If you can go through the fear, you realize that it was not that big a deal, but it feels scary as hell when you're getting close to it. So I totally get that. And the second quote, I'd like to give you one of mine. There is a better version of you inside you, and it's your journey to let that most amazing version of Rose out to play and make the world a better place. Thanks so much for being my host today. I love the interview, and looking forward to our next conversation.
Terrific, Umar. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
You've been listening to Talking with the Experts, hosted by Rose Davidson. Make sure you have a look at our back catalogue over at talkingwiththeexperts.com. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on any episode. We look forward to your company next time. Talking with the Experts.